Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today it's time for another Q&A video. And I want to say thanks so much for all the great questions that have been coming in. I really appreciate it. Also, I want to say for my next video, for the April Q&A, please leave a question below in this video and I'll collect those up. And what I do is I just print them out and read them back to you. So, thanks again so much for these questions. I really appreciate it. It really kind of... it's great to see. It really kind of keeps me, thinking, and I really thought a lot about these. I'm going to start with a question from Movie World Comics. A question for next month: what is a movie that has not gotten a physical media release that you would like to? I have to say I've seen a few movies on streaming services that have not yet gotten a physical media release, and one of them is Palm Springs, I think, from last year, which I really enjoyed with Andy Samberg. That's a really good one. Also, a great movie that I saw this year, Nomadland. That also does not have a physical media release. It was a Hulu exclusive, but I think it will be getting a release. Palm Springs, I just looked online too, and I think the physical media release for Palm Springs will happen at the end of this year. At least that's the news that I read, but feel free to correct me in the comments below. Other than that, there are a few celebrity documentaries that I would like to see, some HBO exclusive videos and movies that have not necessarily gotten a physical media release, but I'm always watching for those. One of those happens to be, I'm a big fan of Mike Nichols, and there's a few, there's one in particular on HBO that has not gotten a physical media release. I'd love to see that come out. And then I'm always looking for, as you know from the channel, I'm a big theater fan. I'm always looking for things like this, which is a kind of a film version of a play called The Homecoming. This happens to be Harold Pinter's The Homecoming, and I'm always looking for these. I wish there were more theater or film versions of theater plays. I know there's a streaming service that allows you to watch Broadway shows. I really enjoy that, or at least I've gotten a trial subscription to that, but no physical media releases for some of those things. There are some on YouTube as well, and I keep hoping that there are more film versions of theatrical plays. I would love to see, again, physical media releases like this of those types of things. But what a great question that is. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. The next one comes from Benham, and again, apologies if I mispronounce any of the screen names here, but Benham, B-E-N-H-A-M, says, "Hi Dave, you always mention about great directors like Bergman, Fellini, Tarkovsky, Kiarostami. Never heard so much about Stanley Kubrick. Maybe a question for next month. Do you like Stanley Kubrick's cinema? If so, what is your favorite Kubrick movie?" I do love Stanley Kubrick a lot. I really enjoy his movies. In fact, I really enjoy all of his movies. But I did pick a couple of favorites for today. And the first one is The Shining, which I think is a great Kubrick movie, adaptation of Stephen King's work, The Shining. I really love this one. Jack Nicholson, of course, in this one, and what a scary version of this, the Stephen King work. So I really like this one. And then, of course, it's so hard to pick favorites a lot of times, but I do like 2001, which is 2001: A Space Odyssey. I'm a big fan of science fiction also, but I think this one is just an amazing film. It's always been an amazing film, always one of my favorites, but I like all of Stanley Kubrick's work. Full Metal Jacket, Dr. Strangelove, so many other ones, but those are two that I picked that are probably my favorites. Great question. The next one is hi Dave, what is one of your guilty pleasure movies that your subscribers would not suspect? I may have talked about this one before, and as much as I love Criterion movies and I love dramas and things like that, this is a movie, and again, I don't really think of things as guilty pleasures, right? I'm never really guilty about anything that I'm watching, but this is one movie that I think maybe not a lot of people would suspect that I watch. Step Brothers. I really love this movie. It's one of my top comedies, and this is a Blu-ray, but this has the theatrical and the extended versions of the movie. If I need a laugh or anything like this, or if I want to be in a better mood, I will put this movie on, and it always gives me a laugh. I'm always quoting lines from it around the house and things like that. So I really love this movie. I think it's just really funny. It's a really unique idea, and Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, hilarious in this movie. The extended cut is great as well. And this one happens to have extended, well, this has extended and alternate scenes, a commentary with Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Adam McKay. But anyway, I love this movie. And so let me know in the comments below if you've seen this movie, if you like it, if it's one of your favorites, or maybe you have what they call a guilty pleasure movie. Again, I don't really think of things as guilty pleasures. I just put it on if I want to have some laughs. And so this is one of my favorites. From Mr. Ryland04. Hey Dave, if you were in charge of writing, directing any sequel with no restraints, what movie would you make? Now, this is going to be really, this is kind of tough, but I feel like if there was going to be a sequel, this would be a really hard one to do, but it might be interesting to do, and that is John Carpenter's The Thing. Maybe I could call it Another Thing, or The Thing 2. I don't think there is a Thing 2, but feel free to correct me in the comments below. But I love this movie. It's such a great movie. I don't even know that I could not top this movie, but The Thing 2 or Another Thing would be something that I would consider, or think about anyway, writing, directing any sequel with no restraints. This would be the one here. Maybe a version of The Thing could come back after this movie. Anyway, great question. And it really took me some time to kind of think about a movie that hasn't had a sequel that maybe I would be interested in being involved with. Again, it's such a masterpiece. I doubt there will be The Thing 2. I say that now, and maybe next year there will be one. Who knows? But great question. From Kara, for your next Q&A, I was wondering if you had any thoughts on the future of physical media for 2021. Now, this is a great question, and a lot of YouTubers talk about this. I really feel like 2021, like 2020, will be a great year for physical media. And I'm still supporting many of the boutique labels that are out there, like Criterion, like Indicator, like Warner Archive, as I've talked about on the channel. So I feel like we should be supporting these companies, and we should be encouraging the production of physical media as much as we can. I know there's a lot of companies are moving in the direction of streaming services, which is great, and I have a lot of those as well. But I still feel like physical media, for me anyway, is important because then I can watch whatever I want to watch when I want to watch it. And I think that's really important. With streaming services, you do see that, and I think we just saw this with a show called The Office, right? A famous show called The Office, which was on Netflix for many, many years and then went off of Netflix, and now it's on another service, or you can get the physical media for it. So when those things start to happen, I get a little concerned, and I'd rather just have the movie or the TV show at home with me so I can watch it whenever I'd like to. So that's a great question. That's my prediction for 2021. I think 2020 there were maybe more opportunities for physical media because with the pandemic, so many of us were at home. I think the market seemed to capitalize on that a little bit. But I'm still seeing the same thing in 2021. There's still some great sales out there, and it's important to, if you can, support boutique labels as much as possible. But that's a great question. Those are my thoughts on it. Feel free to leave me comments below if you disagree or if you have another thought about it. Let me know about that. The next one is from Happy Fenton. That's a great screen name. Have you seen Marty? And if so, what do you think of it? It's one of my favorites, and I don't feel it gets enough love. I totally agree with that. I have Marty right here. Marty. What a great movie. Ernest Borgnine in one of his best performances. I really enjoy this movie a lot. This happens to be the Kino Lorber release of it, and I think you can still get it. From 1955, Marty. What a great movie this is. And I just love his performance in this one. So I would agree, not many people talk about this movie, and it is absolutely one of my favorites. I'm so happy I have it on physical media. Great question. From Dan. With award season underway, what is your all-time favorite Best Picture winner in your collection? This is another really tough one too, right? Because there's so many great movies that have won Best Picture, but I was looking at the list again this morning, and I'm going to have to go with The Godfather. The Godfather, one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think Godfather 2 also won an Oscar, but I know Godfather won Best Picture. This happens to be the trilogy. This is I've talked about this in a video before. This is the Omerta edition, but I just love The Godfather, and it's one of those movies I can put on many, many times throughout the year and just enjoy it wherever it is, in the movie. If it's in the middle, I'll keep watching it. If it's at the beginning, I'll keep watching it. And I just love The Godfather. I think the trilogy is good. Obviously, Godfather 1 and 2, I think I'm more of a fan of than maybe Godfather 3, but Godfather, that's my pick. And finally, this is kind of a long discussion here, but I'll read this from Rafik. Hi Dave, hope all is well. Just a question. Have you heard of the boutique label called the Cohen Film Collection? They have some nice titles. My favorite is the Jean-Paul Belmondo double feature, The Man from Rio and In His Shoes. These are from mid to late 60s classics. I don't hear anyone mentioning this label. I think their movie collection are akin to Criterion. Look into it and see if that comparison is justified, and maybe you can make that comparison. Your thoughts? I have looked at the website for the Cohen Film Collection. It looks really great. It looks like a lot of interesting titles out there, but I have to say I haven't purchased anything or from that particular label, but they do have lots of classics out there. As you know, I'm a big fan of the Criterion Collection, and so that's generally where I go for those types of films, but I appreciate the recommendation. I'll continue to look at that website and look to see what they have to offer. Again, lots of companies out there for to explore, to learn about new films, older films, etc. And so I think this is just another example of a label that supports those types of movies. This has really been great. This has really been a great Q&A, and it really took me some time to think about some of the answers to these questions, but I really appreciate it. If you'd like to leave a question for the April Q&A video, please leave a comment below with your question. Again, I'll print it out as I always do and do my best to respond to you. If you have any follow-ups as well, maybe I didn't answer your question as completely, feel free to leave me a comment also, and I will answer in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. I want to thank everyone for watching my channel and leaving comments, asking questions, kind of keeping the discussion going in the comment section. That's really important also. I sincerely hope that everyone is safe and well, and I'll talk to you soon.